Yo, it's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing representing the squad. And today I'm going over an update on my Pure True Draco list. Somebody asked for me to update this. I forgot who it was in my comment, but I almost forgot to do this, and I really got to get it. I got to get it done because I don't want you guys to feel like I ignore you. So this deck it's pretty much just floodgate stun. You know, what you're trying to do if you go first is put as many restrictions and hindrances on the field as you possibly can. While going second, you're just trying to pop every single card that your opponent controls, establish a solid beat stick, and play poke for game. Pretty much, it's the epitome of control, but at the same time, it has the resilience and basically a contingency plan that most stun decks don't have, which is it has an insane going second ceiling. Like, its ceiling is almost the equivalent going first or second. Like, this deck has the equal amount of ceiling. Like, it's a high ceiling deck. It's really powerful. I do like Dracos as an archetype and as an engine, but the deck to me is kind of boring, but nonetheless, I can't deny, how good the deck is. It's a great deck. So let's hop right into the main deck. We play 2 Master Penis. This is his deck. You can play as many as you want. I obviously recommend 2. This is a number that almost every player is going to run because it's the perfect balance, especially when you're playing Demise. But at the same time, if you can get away with 3 and you're not going to draw too many of it, that's totally fine. Because honestly, you don't play too many monsters anyways. Then we have 3 Maidens. I just like playing the max. I try to maximize on the baby Dracos without playing too many, but I need to draw at least one of them. Because an issue with Dracos is you'll draw a lot of spells and traps, but sometimes you don't draw your monsters, right? That's why you play all these cards that let you dig in your deck to get your monsters. But I want to see at least one monster. Like, if I'm going second and I have Apocalypse in my hand and I have no monster, now I have to rely on my diagram to pop a monster that's on the field. And if that monster can negate my diagram, my hand's pretty much dead. I can't resolve my Demise, and it's just going to be trouble if I can't deal with what they have. So I need to draw Dracos, and I need to draw spells and traps. So I want a balanced ratio of each. Like, every hand should have spells, traps, and monsters. At least one monster. 1 Ignis Heat, and 1 General. Most true Draco players aren't going to run this. There was a build that had Strike of the Monarchs and maximized on this because he was trying to negate evenly matched. There's a lot of different ways you can play true Draco. This is pretty much how I'm doing it. It's pure, but I still play my own spicy techs, and he is definitely one of them. He's the only Draco that I actually like, and I normally play him in my Draco, my Draco True King builds. I like to play Dracos and True Kings together, and a lot of decks. Like, I've done a billion different True Draco, True King decks, and he was always the star of the deck because he floats into True Kings or Dracos. In this deck, you're pretty much trying to sit him next to Masterpiece to make sure that Masterpiece can't be destroyed by Dark Hole or Raigeki or Slumber, which pretty much says Kaiju me or lose, because this deck is not going to allow your opponent to attack over Masterpiece, even if there's no diagram. This deck won't let your opponent attack over him, ever. So you really have to have a Kaiju or you're going to be in trouble. And then 3 Amano Iwatos. If you notice, I play a little bit more monsters than most people will play. Most will play 7 to 8. I play 10. Now, the reason being, I think Amano Iwato goes without saying, he's pretty much a staple by now. My homeboy Jason put me on this last year towards the end of the year. I'm trying to remember exactly when, but it was close to the end of the year when my boy Jason put me on this card. And then right when I found out about this, that's when I put it up on my YouTube channel. Was like, hey, look, if you're playing Dracos, you got to play this. And it's pretty much become a staple now in every true Draco deck. What I want to do is probably do 2 of this and 2 Inspector Borders, but I can't see myself making space. You don't have to play him, and you don't have to play 3 Maidens. You can obviously just keep it standard and do like this. If you want your monster lineup to be this, that'll work out perfectly fine for you. And these 3 cards could be Solemn Strikes, different spells for drawing. It's totally up to you, but honestly, I love the monster lineup the way it is. It's been working out really, really well. Okay, cool. We're not hard pressed for time yet. So, spells. Obviously, you're going to be playing 3 Dragonic Diagrams in any true Draco deck because this is your bread and butter. As long as you can keep this on the field, you generate all kinds of advantage. Not only plus hits and recyclability, but this spell could basically cost your opponent the duel if they let it resolve in certain situations, because sometimes all you need is that one extra card to complete your board where you have Maiden, Floodgates, Apocalypse. And all you really need if you have Maiden and Floodgates is Apocalypse. So if they let the Demise resolve, then you're like, all right, I got Masterpiece, Anti-Spell, Monarchs Erupt. Good game, duelist. So Diagram is just really powerful. One spicy tech that I'm playing in my main deck that true Draco players do not play at the moment, in this meta, there's no true Draco decks playing this, is the Domain. It goes without saying, you would think that it would be at least a tech 1-up staple. I chose this over the Monarch Stormforth. You could play Stormforth, but I opted to play this over Stormforth because I felt like this gave me a longevity in all of my duels, and it's a win condition in Lightsworns and Pendulum matchups. It's a win condition in every single matchup that's not going to be Trickstars or True Dracos. Those are the only 2 decks that don't rely heavily on the extra deck. But even a Trickstar player could be in trouble if they have a Scapegoat, and that basically will just become chunk blocking. So I like the field spells, and it also gives me an additional target for the 3 Optimus Prime, which is going to be searching your diagram like a billion % of the time. But still, it's nice to have the extra target to search, and also to put the maximum restriction on your opponent. When you have a skill drain and you have an anti-spell and you have this, it's just like, not only can you not activate monster effects and you cannot play your spells, but you can't go into your extra deck to try to solve this problem. Like, you can't, Black Rose or Bore Load my Masterpiece, which is a common thing to do, to Bore Load to get over the Masterpiece. This just says, no. Deal with it with your main deck or just lose. So these spells are pretty strong. And then you have pretty much your standard draw spells that you're going to see every Draco deck playing. Regardless of what the preference of the player is, every person is going to play 3 Demise, and every True Draco player is going to play 3 Dualities. Every smart person is going to play 2 Desires. You can play 3 if you really think it's that important, but I feel that Desires is not as important as Duality and Demise. While you see that all of these are hard ones for turns, right? But these are a lot more flexible than Desires itself. While Desires is a generic +1, the deck draws so much that naturally, even resolving 1 Desires can put you in that danger zone where you're like in trouble, you're going to deck out, right? And that's when you start relying on your Disciples to keep your deck filled. So I feel like Desires is just icing on the cake, but these go without saying. Like, you really, really need these spells because a Draco deck commits a lot of resources just to put 1 monster on board, right? Imagine it. You set a spell, you tribute it, or you activate a spell, you tribute it to summon a monster. That's 2 cards out of your hand. Now you're down to 3 cards in hand and 1 monster on field. This is why all these pluses and all this advantage matters, because you need to pay for the resources that you've expended. It's basically, these replenish and also get you an extra surplus, meaning that you're going to be on a +1 or a +2. Then the True Draco spells, you play 3 Heritage and also 3 Disciples. They all have 3 effects that are all insane, and in this deck, they're even more insane because you get the maximum advantage and value off of these spells. These just draw, these draw, this search is almost anything, this draws, these search, these search. All your spells are really, really good. If you draw any of your spells, it's not a bad thing. The only problem you can have as a True Draco player is if you draw too many of these and no monsters. But if you have a diagram, which you play 6 of, you're still pretty good. Then for the traps, we play 3 anti-spells. 3 of the Monarchs Erupt, and then I play 3 more skill drains. So I play 6 skill drains in my deck. This is only a skill drain for the turn that a monster summon, but one of the problems that it does solve is it's much more difficult now for my opponent to attack over my Masterpiece. If their monster is not a Link monster, it's just going to go to defense. Links don't have defensive value, we know this, but any monster that's not a Link monster will literally go straight to defense. In addition to having its effect negated, now it won't be able to swing over Masterpiece. Now you can't go Astrograph, Purple Poison boost Astrograph, attack over Masterpiece, pop diagram. No, it's going to go to defense, and it's going to have its effects negated, which is really powerful. This is like an auto win in so many matchups. It gives you that extra turn that you didn't even need, but it's more restriction. It's like this deck forces you to play slow. You can't even play fast if you wanted to because you have all these floodgates slowing you down, stopping you. And some of these floodgates are a win condition in matchups like this beats Pendulums. This is going to beat almost every deck that's not Dracos, and these are almost like the same in equivalence as the Draco, the Monarchs Erupt. Lose on turn doesn't hurt you at all. Skill drain, if you already had Masterpiece on the field first, then you could just flip the skill drain. It won't turn him off. And then that's if you have him on the field first, of course. And then 3 Apocalypse and 1 Return to sum up the traps. These traps help you out a lot. If you're going second, you draw 1 of these and a monster to tribute summon. Already you're getting over a boss monster that should have never been on the field in the first place, but it's like the Vortex, the Jackal King, the Naruto, just all these things that are trying to stop you from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! You can even just normal Amano Iwado, activate a spell, start tributing, and just start picking the board apart. And that's pretty much it for the main deck. The only things that differ from my deck than most Draco players is I play lose on turn, and I play the domain. That's literally the only difference. Almost everything else is gonna be standard, and then the other thing is my ratios on my monsters. I play a little bit more monsters, but if you could cut the monsters down to less and you want to take these out, you have room for Solemn Strikes. You have room for Strike of the Monarch, Stormforth. You have all these other cards that you can play if you would like. And then the side deck is just the hand traps, 2 Ash, 2 Ogres, 3 Evilise, and just for more free matchups in the Pendulum matchups, 3D Barriers, a couple Kaijus, Dark Hole, Raigeki, and what should be a 3rd Ash Blossom is just a Twin Twister kind of just here, which it should be the 3rd Ash. That's pretty much it for the deck profile, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comment section below what your honest opinion and feedback is. I'm really not a sensitive guy. I'm up for constructive criticism. Be it a good or bad feedback that you give to me, you're going to get a good response nonetheless. That's just how I am. You guys know me by now. But if there's any other requests that you have to make, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll get to it in a timely manner, meaning that as soon as I have the resources, as soon as I have the cards, I promise I get to it ASAP. I do the best that I can, y'all. But I'm going to go ahead and sign out for the night, and you'll be hearing from me soon. Peace.